name is Terry Robinson. Welcome to the Media Theory panel. Today we are going to discuss the topic of Elon Musk and how he uses different media theories to further his reputation in business ventures. How this panel is going to work, we are going to take questions from the audience and then have the experts of the different media theories give a detailed response. We ask that the audience please stay quiet during the panel. If you need to use your cell phone, please exit the auditorium. I'm going to go ahead and introduce the people on the panel for today's discussion. First, we have George Gerbner, who is going to be sitting on the panel today as the cultivation theorist. Next on the panel is Irvin Goffman. Irvin is going to be on the panel as a framing expert today. For agenda setting and gateway theorists, we have Maxwell McCombs. Last but not least on the panel today, we have William McGuire, who is going to be sitting on the panel as an inoculation theorist. Before I start today, I will provide a brief background on Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a self-made billionaire that owns and operates some of the most pioneering business in the scientific community. One of these companies that Mr. Musk owns is Tesla. Tesla is an electric car company that is paving the way of future transportation on a day-to-day basis. SpaceX is another company that Mr. Musk started. SpaceX is a company that is breaking down the barriers of space travel and space colonization. SpaceX is the premier private space company that has billions of dollars in contracts with NASA. The last business venture that Elon Musk has driven into is his Boring Company. The Boring Company's recent main focus is to build tunnels underground in traffic-heavy cities. These tunnels will allow cars to drive in and hopefully cut down on traffic congestion in such cities. Now that you know the background of Elon Musk, we are going to go ahead and start taking questions from the audience. There are two microphones located in the aisles of the seating area. If you would like to ask a question, please form lines at these microphones. I will call on you to ask, and then you will be seated. Please start to form lines now.
So how does Tesla use the media theory of cultivation to promote their self-driving cars?
Tesla uses media to cultivate the views of the world through association. Elon Musk likes to control the narrative, whether in social media or face-to-face with people. Tesla's priority is to give people a reason to buy their self-driving car by telling them how they can save the environment and why they need to stop using gas to avoid nature's destruction. These cases go from amazing near calamity to recording a protection guarantee. All things considered, Tesla has made itself a lot of money by using cheap tactics to control the narrative.
Why does Tesla keep releasing updates while existing problems still persist?
When Elon Musk said Tesla cars are computers on wheels, he neglected to specify that they keep running on Linux. The company loves to control the media by organizing with popular stories first, and then the important stories second. Controlling the narrative is key because it gives you the opportunity to do whatever you want, and the customers will still be buying your products, even if they are existing problems that are not mentioned by the company. That's how agenda setting is used in Tesla and how they're taking advantage of it.
Why has Tesla never needed advertising?
Tesla turned into a significant power in the vehicle business without spending a dime on promoting. That appeared well and good previously when the upstart automaker had definitely more interest in its autos than it could supply. And clients needed to hold up months, if not years, on holding up records to get the vehicle they had requested. In any case, the times of abundant requests are practically finished. Tesla is confronting expanding challenges for electric vehicle purchasers from built-up automakers, every one of whom is enthusiastic about promoting to draw in clients to their items. Regardless, it faces rivalry from purchasers who are happy to purchase either a gas or electric vehicle, whichever they find is the best fit for them. Rivalry and expensive credit terminations drove Tesla to report 31% deals to decrease in the principal quarter of the year, the greatest quarterly drop in deals in the organization's history. Automakers and their sellers spent an expected $9.3 billion on publicizing in 2018, as indicated by an investigation conducted by Kantar Media.
How did Tesla frame the semi-truck as the way of the future for the semi-truck's transportation?
Yes. Although Tesla had significant success with their cars, they decided to create their semi-trucks to prove to everyone that they are not only good at creating cars, but also expanding to semi-truck that could revolutionize the company for some time. When Elon Musk was deciding on the concept, he wanted it to be something that is never done before by framing it.
Does SpaceX use the idea of cultivation with the emphasis on drama to sculpt the media of the Mars mission?
Wow, what a difficult question. I would have to agree that yes, they do use the media idea of cultivation with an emphasis on drama to push people toward the idea of the Mars mission. SpaceX wants people to be excited about what they are doing and where they are going. One of the ways we exploit this idea is using global warming to our advantage. SpaceX uses the commotion of global warming to act as a tipping point in the issue of trying to find another planet to live on. So to sum things up, SpaceX uses the association of global warming with finding a new planet to live on, which is in the end is the main idea of the cultivation theory.
Does SpaceX use the media idea of agenda setting to further their popularity? It seems like you hear a lot more about their up and coming goals and not about the failed rocket launches.
Aha, good question. I would also have to agree that SpaceX does use the media idea of agenda setting to control the medium. From a business standpoint, it doesn't make sense to try and have a rocket launch that fails to be trending on Twitter. The things that SpaceX wants to be trending are their goals and their successful rocket launches. So to wrap up, yes, SpaceX does use the media theory of agenda setting to make certain stories popular and other stories not so popular.
I have another question about SpaceX and agenda setting. Why does SpaceX not talk about possible dangers that are involved with sending people to Mars? And is the other example of SpaceX using the common media idea of agenda setting?
As I stated in the previous question pertaining to agenda setting, yes, SpaceX does use the media theory to further their popularity. Now, to answer the question about SpaceX not addressing the dangers of the Mars mission, they do not promote the dangers to the public about the Mars mission because, one, they don't want to scare the public. But SpaceX does want to embed a sense of purpose in the public. By embedding this idea, they hope to shape the message in a way that it comes out as positive. SpaceX wants to control the narrative about the Mars mission. They do not want people to be worried about the dangers. SpaceX wants the people to be excited that they are taking this huge leap as mankind. How does SpaceX use the media theory of framing to sculpt the view of themselves being the first privately owned space company with their own rockets?
Well, first off, if you know that SpaceX is the first privately owned space company with their own rockets, then they are doing it right. One way that SpaceX used the idea of framing to portray our company is they released our contract that they have with NASA, which, by the way, SpaceX just received a new one to work with NASA on prototypes for in-space refueling. By releasing their contract, they hope that it brings attention to SpaceX and it brings in more investors. Another way, SpaceX uses the framing technique to better the image of SpaceX is focusing on specific incidents on portraying it a way that shapes their image in a positive way. The biggest one framing issue that SpaceX is working on now is the idea that they are leading space program in the world. SpaceX frames this statement by using their goals to set a distinct timeline forward the launch of their first Mars mission with an onboard crew. By SpaceX being the first company to have a Mars mission that has an onboard crew proves that they are the leading space program in the world. And the only way to portray this image is by the media theory of framing.
So we've talked a lot about how Elon Musk has used media theories to promote his business and make them and himself look great. But what does he do when a negative story comes out?
Could you please give us an example of what you mean?
Well, for example, did he use media theories to navigate through the scandal of him smoking pot on a podcast?
I can answer this question. I believe you are referring to Joe Rogan podcast that Elon Musk started in September 6, 2018.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
Great. I'm just going to give a brief background before I dive in. For those who might not know, Elon Musk appeared on an episode of Joe Rogan's famous broadcast, the Joe Rogan's Experience. During these 2.5 hours interview, Elon and Joe were drinking whiskey and eventually smoking joint that was blend of tobacco and marijuana. Even marijuana is legal in California. This because this goes an upper with a stockholders and with NASA who helped fund SpaceX. In fact, this incident combined with the resignation of Tesla's chief accounting officer Dave Morton resigned because Tesla's stock dropped 7% in just a few hours. Now all this sounds pretty bad and seriously affecting Elon's business, but he's actually employed and useful media theories to help minimize some of the damage in this incidents. Elon used inclusion to help control the outro of the press. Inclusion is when somebody admits doing something immoral before they have starting of accusation around them. Once people started watching the broadcast episode and started to respond to the smoking, Elon never denied any accusation. Of course, it would be hard since it was recorded. Nonetheless, he fully admit what he did and accept any consequences which come his way. This admission of guilt forced all of the accusers to back off and kept the story from getting out of hand.
If I remember correctly, the benefit of inoculation is that future infractions will not be taken as seriously because everyone already views them as that type of person. Did this happen in the aftermath of the smoking incident?
That's exactly correct. Wonderful question. Yes, I would have to argue that it did come into effect. In the same week, another news story came out about Elon interaction with the Thailandese cave rescue team. After Elon tried to help out with the rescue by making a child-sized submarine that could save one child at a time from the cave, Werner Onsworth stated that this was just a PR stunt. In response, Elon posted a tweet that called Mr. Onsworth a pedo. Mr. Onsworth inevitably filed a lawsuit against Elon. This story never got any traction, however, because the story about Elon smoking on a live broadcast was bigger news. In fact, I bet most people in the audience today still don't know about the infraction, and even if you did know, you probably didn't mind because that's just how he is. The primary example of the use of inoculation, even through their public reputation takes a hit, and in the specific example, his company's stock took a hit. The overall aftermath was minimal, and future accusation will not be taken seriously.
Could we please expand on Elon's part in the mine rescue story? Was Mr. Onsworth correct in saying that he was just for a PR stunt?
I can't say what his true intentions were, but whether he meant to or not, his part in the rescue definitely advanced his public reputation. Was a mediator in mind expanding on the story so that we all are on the same page?
Of course not. On June 23rd, 2018, a Thai youth football team known as the Wild Boars explored this famed Loon Cave after their practice. Unfortunately, once they were deep into the cave, a large amount of rainwater running down the mountain side started to flood the entrance. Before they knew it, the entrance was completely flooded and they found themselves trapped inside. The team would not exit the cave until the rescue teams reached them 2 weeks later. This tragic news story caught the eyes of the whole world, and many professionals traveled to Thailand to aid in the rescue efforts. One such professional was Elon Musk. Elon heard about the incident and designed a small 2-man submarine to help the rescuers reach the football team. He then personally traveled to Thailand to deliver his invention and show them how to use it properly.
Thank you. As the mediator said, Elon built a small submarine to help transport the children out of the mine. By doing so, he really solidified his reputation as a down-to-earth and approachable guy. This can oftentimes be a difficult accomplishment for billionaires such as himself. By making the public see him as a good guy who is trying to help out the world, he is increasing the odds that customers will choose his products. Therefore, doing good deeds increases his public reputation when he is reflected in the success of his business.
I would also argue that this was an instant that framing was also used, as it was slated earlier. The rescue learned and Elon did not get along well. The rescue learned so Elon as unnecessary hindrance and never used his invention in their rescue attempts. However, most Americans would not realize this conflict. They haven't heard about it because most of the information they received was through Elon's tweets, which is talked about his heroic support and hardly mentioned the conflict at all. How does Elon Musk use his Twitter account to capture his audience?
Elon uses multiple ways to increase and keep his followers. His use of continually replaying the same message in his tweets, talking about his products and companies in a perfect sense, and also using his influence of the media to control the message that the rest of Twitter will then talk about in a like manner.
In Elon's Twitter use, how does he use the cultivation theory?
Elon makes most of his tweets say the same thing, mostly him promoting his products or sharing memes, but the continual replay of like ideas continues his Twitter growth.
How does Elon use framing in social media?
Elon's continual use of advertising his product in the perfect manner while ignoring the flaws that they have persuades the Twitter media that his products are far superior compared to his competitors.
As a media elite, how does Elon control the message? Elon, being a media elite, keeps his products and companies at the top of the conversation, while the competitors have a harder time promoting themselves under the light of Tesla, SpaceX, and The Boring Company.
Elon has recently bashed a competitive car company, Porsche, about their new Tycoon Turbo. How does this affect Elon's reputation of being a friendly, non-competitive person?
A very interesting point to bring up. Since Elon is such a media elite, he can control the way the message is spread. He has become such an icon in the electrical car industry. Most of the population ignores the fact that he's bagging on other companies and most play it off as a joke. How did the Boeing company use agenda setting to promote their traffic tunnels?
The Boring Company used agenda setting to promote their tunnels by organizing the popular stories first and the important ones second. For example, when the Boring Company finished their first 1.14 mile tunnel, they brought the press in to show off the tunnel. Elon had promised that the cars in the tunnel would be fully autonomous, but in fact, they weren't. Elon did not push the story because it showed the public that he failed on a promise. Instead of pushing the story, Elon decided to control the narrative and make the merchandise that he is selling more popular to try to drown out the noise of the failed promise for press day.
Did the Boring Company use framing to make the tunnel look safer than they really are?
In the media, Elon Musk and the Boring Company said that their products are safe, but is it? Let's talk about the underground tunnel between DC and Baltimore. Elon Musk said that the tunnel is a great idea and it will save time. He said that the tunnel is going to be used by the people who own Tesla cars. In the tunnel, there will be a device that the car will attach to, and it will take you and your car to the destination you want without worrying about the street or traffic. But Elon and the boring companies didn't say anything about the fire marshal didn't approve it. The idea wasn't approved because it didn't have any evacuation plan in case of emergency like an exit door or stairs. But Elon Musk did not want this information to worry the public, so he framed it in a sense of a design flaw that will be fixed in the coming months.
Did the Boring Company use the media theory of inoculation to raise the funding of their products?
Good question. I would say that yes, the Boring Company did use the media theory of inoculation to raise funding for their products. I believe they used the inoculation theory by simply just admitting to the public that they were selling these hats and the infamous flamethrowers in order to fund some of the projects they were working on. It seems that the public didn't care what the money was going to be used for, but rather that they want the hats and the throwers because it was connected to Elon Musk. By using the inoculation theory, the Boring Company was able to gather a lot of fundings in a short amount of time. Elon Musk was waiting for this funding so he can start building the underground tunnel as fast as he can. By using the inoculation theory of media, Elon Musk raised more money and faster than he expected.
That's all the time we have for today. Everyone, please give a round of applause to the people on the panel. I'd like to thank the experts on the panel for spending some time with us out of their busy schedule. I'd also like to thank the audience for coming today and asking some great questions about the media theories of cultivation, framing, and agenda setting / gateway, and inoculation. Once again, thank you for coming out tonight, and please have a safe drive home.